What's going on, everybody? This is the RGR Football Channel. My name is Daniel Harms, film analyst, and today I'm going to give you a little bit of my own draft takes. We're going to do a little bit of a mock draft. I'm going to use a different mock draft simulator than one I normally use. I want to get a little bit of a different perspective, and why not start to make fun of a little bit of the things that we're seeing around the NFL draft and everything that encompasses with with regards to how players are being perceived, where they might end up falling, and who's going to end up taking them. Because that, at the end of the day, that is some of the most fun we can have, is looking at some of these boards and saying, well, there's no way that person's going to be there by this time. So what I wanted to do is use PFF's mock draft simulator. I know we tend to make fun of PFF for the most part, but there is a lot of good information here. We're going to get to learn a little bit about how they value players based on their numbers and their grades, things like that. We do still use PFF grades at times. They're more of a tool than anything, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to see how these players are being valued on the PFF scale based on their grades, which isn't a bad thing to do because it lets you compare and contrast based on, personally, my own film grades and how they view. So I'm going to do 4 rounds. We're not going to do a whole 7-round mock. I want to get all through 4, the bulk and the majority of their best picks, and then we can go from there and just kind of figure things out. So let's go ahead and let's look at it. I zoomed in a little bit so you can see, hopefully, what everything that we are doing. So obviously we are picking the Chiefs. I think this is how it's all going to work. Just pick the one team and be good to go. Yeah. All right, let's enter the draft. All right, so I know you can force trades in PFF. I'm going to keep this one straight up, and it's just going to be what it is. I don't want to get too crazy in depth into it in terms of player breakdowns and things like that, but I do want to see how this is going to unfold in terms of the PFF grades. I think this is a good idea to see, but yeah, I'm not going to trade any picks. I'm not going to accept any trades. I'm not going to start any of them. So I'm actually going to go down the board from the start and see what ends up happening here. So they have it breaking this way, where Hutchinson does go 1. That's the biggest thing happening right now in terms of projections. 2 tackles, couple corners back to back. This makes a lot of sense now, considering Derek Stingley Jr. is supposed to be at full health. Karlaftis at 8. Good Lord, that's the biggest reach I've ever seen. Oh man. And then the first wide receiver being Drake London at 10. I've seen that being mocked to the Jets a lot, so that makes sense. Trayvon Walker, definitely more of, maybe I'll zoom in one more time, just so we have so you guys can see everything, really see everything. Trayvon Walker at 11, more of a feeling out. I still have him as a 2nd round grade based off of his film. Garrett Wilson, Trent McDuffie, Devin Lloyd going up there, Chris Olave. We start seeing a bit of a run here. Jamison Williams at 18. Wide receiver run, now it ends. David Ojabo goes to the Bills. I guess I can see that. I can definitely see that. Kyer Elam going at 27. Trevor Penning at David Ojabo. Lewis Cine, I believe, or Cine. I forget how to pronounce his last name. So now the Chiefs are on the board at 29. They're going to have 30 as well. So let's look at everything. I want to see specifically, what are we looking at? The corners that are on the board. I mean, I wouldn't classify Jalen Petrie as a corner per se, but obviously Daxton Hill is here. That's the extent of where I want to go in the first round. Daxton Hill is a guy that I would still draft in the first round based off of his tape and everything else. But Petrie is a safety. Let's look at the edge position. Okay, okay, I see. All right, so we have Boye Mafe, Arnold Ebiketie, Nick Bonito, these players that I'm not really interested in drafting. Mafe, definitely more to an extent. Defensive line, Travis Jones. Yeah, so it's starting to get a little interesting already. Treylon Burks is here at 29. At 29, I think I'm pretty comfortable taking him myself. I have no issues with that. I would even take Jahan Dotson at this position over a player like Sky Moore. I know a lot of people are high on him, but considering the value on the board right now, there isn't a whole lot in terms of value. So I think I'm going to end up going with Treylon Burks, and then we still have other things to consider. I don't think they're going to draft a safety. I don't think they're going to draft the linebacker in the first round. I think they're going to draft an edge. I think that's going to be in this position. It's going to be Boye. But anything could happen. I'm not taking Nick Bonito. I don't think he's a first round player. And start to get down here, I just don't see value for the Chiefs. The only guy that I would really take here is Boye Mafe. So if we're just going based off of the rounds, how it is, I'm not going to do any trade backs. We're going to really see what ends up happening. And now we're back up at 50. You have, again, we could double dip at edge. The Chiefs could definitely double dip. I could see that being something that ends up happening. And we do have a trade offer, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to roll with the punches here, just kind of go through. George Pickens was taken at 43. McCreary off the board at 42. Dotson, 45. Chanel Muma. Yeah, these are the value linebackers that I was looking at. They have been taken. Yeah, Christian Harris is a guy that I really do like. I think he's a better player than was being, really than he had, really than the season that he had. Definitely a better athlete. What are we going to do here? So it's always possible, like I said, to double dip. But let's look at corner. I think Emerson's a better player than his tape. Again, at this point, it's all about what we feel is most comfortable. What do the Chiefs have value-wise here? That's really what it comes down to. And I think you're going to see maybe we take a Martin Emerson in the end of the second, and we try to get somebody a little bit more polished. I like Drake Jackson. I think that he's a guy you could double dip and really get some upside with. That's definitely a possibility if they're not comfortable with tackle. Abraham Lucas is probably a bit of a reach for him. Again, you're starting to see some real reaches. Troy Anderson doesn't know how to play linebacker, but he's an athlete, a huge athlete. DeMarvin Leal is a really good tackle, defensive tackle. He's not an edge. What is going on? What are they valuing these players at? Like Perrion Winfrey? Okay. That's something I'm going to actually pull the trigger on. I like that a lot. You can pair him next to Chris Jones on these pass rush situations. I also think he has defensive tackle, like early down upside. So a guy who can rotate in with, Derek Nottie. I really like that pairing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Really do like that. And now we get to that point where we might have an opportunity to double up at wide receiver or at edge. I like Drake Jackson. We just talked about that. Cameron Thomas is also one of those more high floor guys coming into the NFL with some upside. Not a whole lot. Drake Jackson has the most upside. But what are we trying to get out of here? What are we trying to see that ends up happening? Ideally, you want to have that floor player, but have ability to have some upside. And you already have Boye Mafe here in Kansas City now. You drafted him in the first round. So Cameron Thomas gives you that floor, but Drake Jackson might end up being the better player. It's hard to tell. Let's go back to corner. Martin Emerson is here. That's something that I'm looking at more and more and more. I think that this makes a lot of sense. 6'2", I like that. I don't think he's actually 6'2". Probably isn't 6'2". Let's kind of get his actual. That's not what I'm looking for. Where is it? Why isn't it showing up? Maybe he didn't have one. Usually when I type that in, it just pulls up his, that one. But it didn't show up. Interesting. Oh, he's under a different name. MJ. Gotcha. Okay, so he is 6'2", 33.5-inch arms. This seems like something that Kansas City would do all day. 4'5" guy, like that's perfect. Like that fits almost exactly what they're doing. I think they have to value corner a bit heavier in this draft. So I think that Martin Emerson makes a lot of sense. A guy who has got length, he's got the size and the speed, the deep speed they're looking for. So I really like that fit in terms of what they want to do defensively. So yeah, I like that a lot. Now we're in the third round, pick 94. We should have 94, 103. All right, cool. This is where I'm probably going to start taking some of the players that have that upside. I think Doman is one of those linebackers you could definitely look at. Now let's see, what do we got at wide receiver? Romeo Doubs is a guy I like too. Kyle Phillips, definitely more of a slot player. At this point, you're looking more about guys that have that upside because the best players are gone. You're going to have some of that value. So I think we're going to wait till the 4th round to really double dip at wide receiver the way things are playing out now. So we go edge. Mijai Sanders is a guy I would really be comfortable drafting here. Again, Sam Williams, I'm probably going to stay away from in the 3rd round because of his past, things like that. And again, it's more upside than it is actual tape production. Yeah, I like taking Mijai Sanders here in the 3rd. I think that makes a lot of sense for him. And we did see the confirmation of him putting that weight back on. So he was sick and he was able to put it back on. So I'm going to take him here again. Ryan talks a lot about taking those Cincinnati players and those guys that are around winning cultures and have that type of thing ingrained in their, everything. So I think that that's one of those places that I really like to see that be taught and be in the 3rd round, at the end of the 3rd round, to get a guy who's got some upside and has some of that speed and athletic ability, one off the edge in today's NFL. So let's take a look. Where am I? Can I actually see all of my picks? No. That's weird. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Huh. All right, let's go back all the way up. So we have Sanders, Emerson, the corner. We took Perry and Winfrey. I think that's a great value for Perry and Winfrey, honestly. I really do. And then you have Mafe and Burks. Pretty decent draft so far. We just went edge. So let's look at some linebackers, yeah? Again, this is all going to be pretty much upside guys now. And to be honest, I haven't had a lot of exposure to these guys in the end of the 3rd, 4th round. So I'll probably leave this draft without one. That's my own thing, and that's fine. You guys can hate on me for it. I don't have an issue with that. But we'll look at tight end, actually. And this is where I would probably look to take an Isaiah Likely. I think he's got some upside as a pass catcher in the NFL, a field stretcher, something like that. I like that. Ruckert has some of that too, but he's a terrible blocker. Likely really more of a pulling guard, like a puller and a lead blocker. He works better with angles than he does specifically getting his hands on you and really pushing and pulling and things like that. I think that Ruckert has more strength. Likely is a better receiver, and I think there's some tools there too for him to be a better blocker, but I think he's kind of more in the Travis Kelce mold. He has some burst off the line. His first step is good. He closes space pretty well. So I think I want to take a chance here and draft a tight end at the end of the 3rd round. A guy that I really like. I really do like him. All right. So we're into the 4th now. This is really where I want to look at some of these receivers, and I'm going to take some upside. Tyquan Thornton is a hugely athletic guy out of Baylor. Really, that Baylor mold. Corey Coleman example out of Baylor. Now he's on this team. You also have the Denzel Mims type of players. They're all like that, where they're much better winning that jump ball. And if, by all accounts, the Chiefs have gotten extremely big at wide receiver over this offseason. So that's somebody that I think would fit exactly what they want to do, which is get better, maybe play a little bit more bully ball. Let's go ahead and draft him. Why not? All right, now this is... Whew. All right. Got lots of things here. So Zach Tom, I do think that there's an ability here at this point to take a developmental tackle if the Chiefs want to do that. So if you're talking about him as an interior offensive lineman, why is he ranked as a tackle? What are y'all doing? 6'5", 295, little light. Probably where it's going to happen, yeah? 6'7". I like that. Or we could look instead to continue fortifying the defense. Where's the corner group here? Mario Goodrich. Alante Taylor. I like Alante. Vincent Gray is actually one of the guys on my board, much higher than his mark here. I think he's got a lot of tools that you can really develop in the NFL. Some safeties. Brad Hawkins, Michigan. Yusuf Corker. Okay. I think I'm probably going to go tackle. This makes a lot more sense, trying to get someone that you can develop, and especially if the Chiefs are uncomfortable with their positioning. And Zach Tom is one of those guys that, again, really more of an athletic guy that they could develop as a swing tackle, and that really the Chiefs are looking for to develop that. So I think I'm going to draft him, let the Chiefs look to develop him, and get a guy who's going to be your swing tackle of the future, possibly. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't really care about your grades, to be completely honest. This makes no sense to me. Also makes no sense to me, probably factoring in more positional value. But yeah, I'm okay with this draft, to be very honest with you. I like it, and I think that it fills some areas that the Chiefs really need up top. You get some developmental players down at the bottom here, and really, actually, from the second on, you really look to get that type of filling out your roster players. So you guys go ahead and let me know what you think. That's fine. I know it's probably not the best in the world. I have less experience down here in the 4th round than I have as I do more of these. We'll get definitely more comfortable. I will be joining Ryan on those Sunday drafts. But again, let me give in this comment section, what I want you guys to do is give me who you thought my best value player was, or who you would have taken in different positions in this draft, and kind of see how we value it all together. How you value it. I want to see how the players you want instead. Again, I think that overall this is pretty good. We'll see how that ends up working out for KC, as well as the draft in about a month now. Actually, much less than a month, almost 3 weeks to the day now. Jeez, it's getting just pumping in. So again, you guys tell me who you thought was either my best pick, or who you would have taken in some of these other positions, because you can just go back and kind of see who was on the board. Again, you guys tune in tomorrow. I will have a film review of Arnold Ebiketie, defensive end out of Penn State. Ryan and Seth will be there on Thursday for the Chief in the North. And make sure you continue to tune in as we get breaking news, try to get all this information out to you guys as fast as we can for the NFL draft on April 28th. I will be hosting it by myself. We'll have some guests. It's going to be fun. Make sure you join me then. But until then, stay tuned here to the RGR Football Channel.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.